best way to keep a plan realistic? And are there any like warning signs that you see when you're working with someone on developing a plan? Any warning signs that what they're putting together is unrealistic?
I think there's a couple different things there. If I jump in, Fran, not to
Yeah, go for it, and then I can
grab
jump
it,
in.
but yeah, no, that's right. We always talk about this idea of, being realistic. Is one of it's being realistic with the budget. So that's the first thing, right? So, and then the schedule, right? So the two things that kind of talk about management, right? Budget and schedule. It seems simple, but there's a lot of influencing factors to those budget and schedules. But the ones that kind of strike me as the most difficult sometimes is the ability to actually replace the assets. So that's where you get in trouble if you don't plan for um, the appropriate amount of time or the disruption or the outage, as we were saying earlier, because it could be a lot of safety risk associated with some of these pieces of equipment, and that's where you have problems where they're not realistic. They set lower budgets than are realistic, and they set shorter schedules than are realistic. So that's where you get to the problem where they could fail. That's where I see the problems most of the time.
Yeah, I think the only thing I think that's great, Ray, and I think the only thing I was going to add on to is just kind of thinking about some of the goals and if they're too lofty, right? So, some of these goals can be you want to be net zero by 2030, and like to achieve that, the cycle and the time to achieve that, you just might not physically or have enough time, right? The lead times, the planning ahead, the planning's key, right? I mean, we're talking a lot, and we kind of using that word a lot today, planning, but it's important to understand what the goals are and how, get a roadmap and a pathway to get there.